is Red, White, and Bluegrass.
As General Assembly Republicans take the final lap on their flagship priority of the year, Democrats are unveiling priorities of their own. Both the House and Senate Democratic caucuses this week held media conferences announcing their platforms for the year. The list is a bit too long to go through individually, but there is some overlap, like increasing minimum wage, striking down right to work, and universal pre-K. On the House side, the banner proposal this year is in housing, with a soon-to-be-announced omnibus bill in the works.
We're fighting for public education. We're fighting for household economics, so you don't have to struggle to get by. We want our communities to be healthy. We want workers to have rights and success at work. And we want public safety and justice reform.
Representative Lindsey Burke said being able to put out a clear and convincing vision for Kentucky is something that Democrats struggled to do the past few years, and that this was a first step to change that. So Representative Hancock, you were at that media conference that we just saw there. Curious, of all of the different issues that y'all presented, 15 bills in total, where do you think y'all are going to be able to find the most common ground with your counterparts?
Well, first, I am aggressively optimistic but not naive to the size that we are. And as a caucus, we came together to just put out a platform that gave intention to fighting for Kentucky families. And that can be on all broad. I mean, you could go on, it could be more than 15. But I mean, affordable housing is definitely, I think, both across the aisle. We all know that this is a crisis, and we know that we have to work together to come up with solutions that are going to help our Kentucky families.
Representative Heavrin, is there anything from what was presented? I'm not sure if you had the chance to look through everything that was put out in the press release and so forth. Anything where you think that some of your colleagues may be able to get on board and find some common ground?
You know, Bodie, I've not actually had the opportunity to look. Erika, Representative Hancock and I were talking about that a little bit this morning. I've not had the chance to kind of do a deep dive into what the priorities are. But, you know, I think what we do know is all of our constituents would agree. Everyone wants us to work together to come up with real solutions, not just big ideas, but actual solutions that are going to help everyday families, whether it's in rural Kentucky or urban Kentucky.
Whenever it comes to things like housing, I think that, you know, y'all mentioned that that was going to be the big banner issue for y'all. There is a need there and an interest expressed by members of the supermajority. Does it matter if it's a Republican or Democrat that is necessarily the name on the bill, the vehicle that's carrying whatever issue that's driving forward? Is there any thoughts there?
You know, we had a task force during the interim to talk all about housing. Representative Susan Tyler Whitten did a fantastic job, and so I would expect, since she led the task force on housing, that she would be the one for her bill to move forward. And that's not uncommon during a session.
No, and again, you know, it comes back down to we're willing to do whatever it takes to move these things forward. We don't care who gets credit for it, as long as it's helping the Kentucky families.
You talk about, you know, not being naive about the odds that are in front of you. Can you talk to me a bit about the value that you would put in advocating for these issues, even if you're not sure they're going to end up going anywhere?
Well, I just think that's our job. You know, that's what we were elected to do, to be the voice of our districts and our constituents. It isn't a red or a blue issue. These are Kentucky issues. And I think there's a large amount of us in the General Assembly that understand that task in front of us and that will do the things that it needs to do to get the job done.
One big issue that's been put out by the Democrats for many years now is universal pre-K. Representative Heavrin, you're chair of Family and Children here. Generally, that's not been a popular idea received by your side. How can we address the ultimate issue of the child care shortage in the state, and is there any early talks about trying to meet in the middle on that?
You know, I've been working on childcare for the last 3 years. I've been a fierce advocate for that and trying to figure that out. We are currently, we're taking a step back this session, and there's a working group going on. You know, there were 35, 40 people that are coming to me with childcare interest, and so that we convened a working group outside of the General Assembly. I'm not involved in those conversations, but they are working out. It's all different political ideologies and trying to figure out where we meet on the middle to best serve all Kentuckians, once again in rural and urban Kentucky. You know, the issue with the conversation of just universal pre-K, Bodie, that gets left out a lot is you know, the 3 and 4 year olds are are what helps child care centers survive, because the numbers, you can have more of them, and so you make more money with 3 to 4 year olds. And so if you take those out, it really upsets the child care ecosystem. And so while I do think it's important that we continue to talk about kindergarten readiness and how we get kids in child care, because I look at it from a workforce perspective. I think child care is an issue that we all meet on, most of us meet in the middle on. When I've co-sponsored bills or sponsored bills on child care, Bodie, actually a lot of Democrats have signed on. I think there were over 60 sponsors on my 2022 bill over child care. So I think it's something we're all trying to figure out what the best thing is. It's not necessarily a red or blue issue. It's just what's the best thing for Kentuckians.
Is there more you wanted to add to that?
Well, universal pre-K, I think, is just one of the focuses that we have, because it is an issue that, kindergarten, the expectations of kindergartners are not what it was when we were in kindergarten. And we had half-day kindergarten. So maybe that would be an option that would help with what you had said about the funding for our child care centers. I never really thought of that as being an issue with pre-K, but maybe there is a solution somewhere in the middle there that we can offer that and continue to fund our child care centers and make it affordable for our families.
Yeah, interestingly, I'm from Georgia, and they utilize their lottery system for a lot of the child care stuff there. We're going to have to leave it right there.